Hello, everyone, and welcome to Direct Selling Success Network Marketing Done Right. I'm Anna Green, and I am joined today by Christian Spence, who is a sole trader specialist accountant with a lot of experience within the direct selling and network marketing industry space, with being in it herself and having a lot of clients who are also in it. She's the person to talk to about your tax bill, your accounts, and your profit and your loss.
So I'm Christian. I live in Cambridgeshire and I've been a sole trader specialist accountant for 33 years, ever since self-assessment first came in. I had a friend who was an architect and asked me if I'd help her. And so I've done it all around the children and thoroughly enjoy it. I think
You
that's
sound like that's a bad
controversial.
thing.
Yeah. No, but a lot of people dread accounting and they hate it. But I like to, I find it a positive and, you know, dare I say, fun thing to do.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So, yeah, prior to that, I trained in hotel management and I worked with a company called the Landmark Trust for years. And then I helped people set up their businesses. There was a furniture company, there was a management consultancy company, and doing everything to do within running a business. So I have a lifetime of experience in the field, and yeah, thoroughly enjoy it.
Yeah. Brilliant. But I know a lot of people have this image of accountants and
Mhm.
accountancy and looking after the tax within their business, don't they? And that can be quite a challenge for a lot of people.
Yes, and what I notice more and more is people feel that it's something they should understand and they should have a grasp on, but we're not taught it in school. Nobody talks about it, all through education. So how are people supposed to know unless they have somebody to talk to about it? And so it carries a kind of stigma of shame. People are embarrassed by the fact that they don't understand how accounting and tax returns work. And I want to kind of ease the way and enable people to be okay with talking about their accounts and doing them and make it more relaxed and fun. Keep it simple.
Yeah, less scary. I know how I used to feel when I first started in business, direct selling, way back in 2005. I didn't know how to set up with HMRC as self-employed. It was all baffling. It didn't seem to be an easy process. I was so afraid of getting it wrong. And I
Yeah.
can't have been the only one. Well, I know I'm not the only one.
No, of course not. Um, and things have changed, and I think HMRC is a lot more user friendly now. They're not scary if you can get through to them. You can wait quite some time on the phone, but a lot of it is done online. And to register is a website where you go in and you put all your details and register your business. And yeah, and then you start.
Yeah. Yeah. And once I got the hang of it, it wasn't as difficult as I thought back in the day. And my clients, when they go and start registering for self-employed and starting that process with HMRC, it isn't as difficult as we make it out to be. We're getting our own way, I think, a lot of the time because it's something unknown.
Absolutely. And people, they'll store up their brown envelopes. They don't want to open them even. And it's sort of breaking through that barrier of fear.
Yeah.
And all you have to do is keep, so whenever you start your business, I always advise people to have a year end which falls in line with our country's financial year end, which is the 5th of April. So you can either do the 5th of April. I like to do the 31st of March just because I like working, neatly to the end of a month. So, if you started in January, you do a 3-month period to the end of March as your first entry. and then carry on annually from there. And it's just keeping a record of all the ins and outs of your business.
Yeah. And I know a lot of people, that scares them a lot. I mean, what do you count for? And I know this is far too much for us to go into on here in a podcast, but knowing, what you can claim on your expenses, which I'm sure it must be quite easy to find out through HMRC, what you class as income, all these sorts of things can get quite confusing for people, and I get this. And so as an accountant, is this something you're asked an awful lot?
Yes, but what I recommend to people, I mean, if you were a sole trader business, you can just have your income and expenditure all going out of the same bank account as your personal stuff. But being on the receiving end as an accountant and getting all that information, there's so much, is that business, is that personal? So what I always recommend is open a new bank account for your business, maybe put some money into it just to get it started. And that would be capital introduced, i.e. money you're putting into the company just as a buffer to get it going. And then you can take that out as and when the money is in the account. And that would be a drawing against your capital introduced. So it won't be an expense.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, of course. And from a business strategist point of view, rather than an accountant, having that separate business account is crucial so that you know that you're keeping your money that's yours separate from the money that's in your business. And so that you can see how much money you're making on a daily, monthly, weekly basis, how much money you're spending on a daily, monthly, weekly basis. Because it's a trap that a lot of people in this industry, in network marketing, fall into, is not knowing how much they're making.
Yes, and with this, we have a new ruling coming in called Making Tax Digital, which I think will help a lot of people because a lot of people will just leave their accounting up until the 2 weeks before filing at the end of January. And then it's all a mad panic and blood, sweat, and tears and worry. Whereas if you're just doing it, at one point I was running monthly workshops within Tropic. Within Tropic was just to get people in to help with their businesses, to keep them on top of their accounting. Because best will in the world, can you remember what that £5.40 was for 18 months ago? Do you know, you can lose the plot a bit. So just being on top of it, and with this Making Tax Digital, at some point, depending on your turnover, they're wanting everyone to go on online software, which again is not scary. There are some lovely packages. And it means at a push of a button, you can see exactly where you're making your money and what your profit is at that point. You therefore know how much you're going to be owing in tax by the end of the year.
So that's the other scary thing, isn't it? Paying tax. Why do people think that paying tax is so bad?
It's a sort of, yeah, it's very interesting. And on the same hand, they'll be saying, why is the NHS falling to pieces? Or, why are the potholes? All these things are paid for by taxpayers. And it's, what do they say? There are two certainties in life, tax and death or something.
Yeah, death and taxes.
Yeah, but there's a lot you can do to reduce your tax bill legitimately, yeah. And there are a lot of things people forget to claim when they're doing their accounts. And so it's just bearing in mind, have I claimed everything I can? And the other thing that people can do in network marketing is they can double account if they're working partly from their bank account and partly from the paperwork from the company. You can end up counting sales twice. So you just have to really be aware of where the money is coming from. And what I say to people when they're starting out, until you get into the lovely realms of VAT, Just focus on what is hitting your bank account and what you're paying out of your bank account. And bear in mind, if you're on a stall and someone gives you £10 for a body wash, make sure what I do when I get home is I just transfer from a savings account £10 into my business account. It's done and dusted. I don't then have to think about keeping a petty cash journal. And it's just, I don't have to think about it again. I've done the transfer. This is a Tropic sale from XYZ event, and leave it at that, and it's done.
Yeah, and that £10 cash would then go into your savings next time you're putting a cash deposit in your bank.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. I think sometimes we do overcomplicate things massively with these things because I know, back in the day when we used to have a like an order book and you'd write everything in, all your expenses, all your incomes and everything would go in a like a what did we used to call them? I forgot what they were called.
A petty cash tin, or
No, the book that you recorded all your
oh,
things in, like
like ledger.
your
A
ledger, that's the
ledger.
word I'm looking
Yeah,
for. Yeah, it's so much easier nowadays.
absolutely. And initially you can just do it on Excel spreadsheets if you prefer. Just
Yeah.
have one which has your whole bank statement, all the ins and outs, and then separate the ins, which would be your bank receipts, so your income and your sales income and your commission that you get for selling the products and from your team, and then expenses, which will be then you analyze out the expenses. I mean, actually, if your turnover is under 83,000, you only have to put one figure in for sales and one figure in for purchases.
That's at your
But
end of year
yeah,
on the
yeah. But
website. Your
personally, I like to know just where the money is going in the purchases. So by keeping it analyzed out, you can then the following year, you'll very quickly see, oh, I had insurance the previous year, but I don't see the insurance there. Oh, I paid for that one on my personal credit card. I must remember to fish that expense out. And it's
yeah.
always trawling through your personal account. Did you buy, quite often it happens you use the wrong card and you've gone and put an expense through your personal account, and you just fish those out and then they're just put through as a separate entry, monies that you've spent personally on behalf of your business, and fish
Yeah.
it out that way, and also eyeball your credit card because things do slip through and it's worth fishing them out.
Yeah, well, I remember going to the supermarket and buying notebooks for the team because they were all on offer in the stationery bit in the supermarket, and it just went on the main shop
Yeah.
because you'd forget because it's just quick. You want out as fast as possible,
Yeah,
stuff like
so
that.
what you want to do there is just keep them to one side. So when you go through the till, you say, could you till up that? Do that as an expense and then do the rest.
Yeah, makes
It's
it so much easier.
so much easier, just accounting wise. And,
Yeah.
using your business card for the notepads and stationery, and using your personal for your groceries.
Yeah. One thing, taking it back to the tax that I used to think, because I used to try and keep myself under the tax bracket so I didn't have to pay tax because the tax bit was so scary and I felt like the tax was going to take away my money. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Probably not. It does make sense. It's just
no,
like this
I
goes
know.
in my head. So I used to keep myself under that bracket. And it wasn't until there was a light bulb moment I had at some talking to somebody, and I think it was at one of the networking meetings and an accountant somewhere. And they said, actually, if you're paying tax, it means you're earning enough to pay tax, which means you are contributing to society. But at the same time, as you're doing that, the more you earn, the more you can contribute to society. And yes, you might not agree with what's going on in the government at the time or whatever, but you're still contributing to other people. And the more you can do that and the more you can earn and the more you can contribute, the better you can make society with what you're doing. And
Absolutely.
and it was just somebody saying that made me think, well, actually, why am I holding this back? Because actually, for one, I'm not contributing to society as much as I possibly could. But for two, I was stopping myself from growing and stopping myself from scaling from for so long because I just didn't understand the concept and I was scared of the concept.
You're putting a glass ceiling on your
Yeah,
growth. Yeah,
yeah, absolutely.
absolutely. Yeah.
And I hear people doing it before they get to the VAT threshold. So that 80, is it 83,000? If you are
Sort of
selling 80,
83, you want to start thinking about it. 90 is the actual
yeah.
threshold now,
So
but
when you get to that point, I know a lot of people will stop selling
well, that's
because
the other way is go away on a holiday for a month if you are in a business that is likely to do that.
well, yes,
One way
possibly, but
of
why not earn even more?
absolutely. Yeah, it's all good fun. All
Yeah.
good fun.
It's really intriguing that what we do to ourselves when it comes to money, what we tell ourselves. Yeah. Yes.
Yes, I remember as a child, I overheard my parents talking, and my dad was on 98% tax. This is in the 70s.
Wow.
And um and I just thought that was on everything. But like today, you have the starter bracket of
Yeah.
20. Well, you have the 12 and a half you can earn before you pay any tax. Then you've got 20%, and then you've got 40 and then 50. But yeah, 98 with Labour back in the 70s.
Wow.
But what I
S-
hadn't taken into account is he was obviously doing well to be on that bracket.
Yes. And this is the thing that we forget.
Mm,
Actually, you've earned all this money. And
mm.
so the thing that used to confuse me terribly was, yeah, you get your £12,500 where you don't pay tax on, or what that rough amount, isn't it? That you don't pay any tax on. So you can earn that much profit before you pay tax. Yeah.
Yeah.
But after that point, the 20% is on anything you make over that, isn't it?
Mhm.
So you don't then automatically you make £12,500 profit in a pound and get taxed on it all. You
Oh
would just
no.
get taxed on the pound.
Yeah.
So until I understood that bit, I would never want to make over that amount of money. And I was the same when it came to the 40%. I didn't really understand how that worked. But that again is you pay 20% tax on up to that bracket and then pay 40% on the rest. You're not automatically going
Yeah.
to lose a big pile of money to the tax man. But none of this is really explained very well by anybody.
No. No, you're absolutely right. You've got those different brackets, but it doesn't roll back and
No.
do it on the entirety until you're earning a lot.
Yes,
Then you
a
start
lot.
losing your personal allowance, but we
Yeah.
won't cover that here today.
No.
Um,
I'm sure they can come and talk to you separately about
yeah,
that.
absolutely. But in that 12 and a half, to remember, if you've got rental property, that will be coming out of that. If you're on
Yeah.
PAYE, that will
Yeah.
be being accounted for in your PAYE job. So depending what you're earning there. But
Yeah.
quite often in the first year, when someone's setting up with network marketing, you may, you'll have more expenditure because you're buying your bowls and your towels and all the different
Yeah.
things to have a business, your computer. And
Yeah.
quite often in that first year, if you're doing it alongside a PAYE job, you may find that you're going to get a tax refund if you make a loss. So
Yeah.
it's not all about tax. It's a fine balance, but the important thing is to get friendly with your figures and
Yeah.
your paperwork and build it in so you're doing it a little bit all the time. And with this, as I say, with this online accounting, you literally by the 10th of April, I can file my tax return because it's all done.
Yeah.
There's no sort of pulling hair out over a box of loads of receipts. I used to get apple boxes full of bits of paper and the bank statements, and people go, here you go. And then I had to work out what's gone through the bank, what's been petty
Yeah.
cash. It was a lot more wieldy, and now I think it's going to streamline it and make it easier for everyone. Yes, there's going to be a learning curve, but reach out to people and do it together, or but don't be fearful and do not feel ashamed.
No,
And you're
absolutely not.
embarrassed that you don't understand it. Nobody's taught you this in school.
No. I'm 21 years in business now this year, and it took me a long time to even want to do my tax and not be scared of it. It took me a long time after that to actually get it done before the 31st of January. Um, and the only way that made me do it was the fact that I wanted to look at my figures. I wanted to know what I was earning. I wanted to get friendly with the figures so I knew what was making me money and what wasn't.
Yeah,
What was going to get me to that next level? What was going to help me buy that holiday? What was going to help me pay for a house?
yeah,
And I couldn't do any of those things because I wasn't paying any attention to my accounts. And I was probably not doing them as effectively as I could. There was probably loads of things I wasn't claiming for at the time. And I bet there's so many people listening to this that are thinking the same thing. You know, I'm leaving it to the last minute and rushing it. And I don't really remember anything that I've bought over the year.
yeah.
Yeah.
And there are brilliant softwares,
Yeah.
and there are also, if you get the right bank, free softwares that come with
Yeah.
your bank account, and that's something to bear in mind because online software can cost between £5 and £20 a month. So shop wisely.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you can get it free through your bank, absolutely do that. Yeah. Yeah. So have you got any top tips for people to try and keep their accounting nice and simple?
So I would get a concertina file, which are those sort of pull-out files, and they have each month allocated. And just pop your bits of paper in there, even things you're unsure of. So you've got all the paperwork to hand. And each month download, because a lot of people have online banking, download your bank statement in a PDF, so you've got that on file, and also, or just store it on your computer, but also in it's called comma separated value, CSV.
Oh, yes.
And then you download a CSV, you can open it in Excel,
Yeah.
and then you can start moving it around and manipulating it to however you want your accounts to look. So that would be my top tip for kind of keeping on top of the paperwork. And then at year end, or you can do it more regularly, but at year end, think about, am I working from home? Have I got an office at home? So thinking about use of home figure. Things like going out, meeting a customer, talking about your products, having a coffee, that's travel subsistence. Mileage, so if you're going
Yes.
off to do a presentation, making a note, and you can get clever apps for that now. Or just mark down, you've gone to the company's jamboree in Birmingham, keep a note of the mileage. You can charge 45p a mile for using your car for the first 10,000 miles, and then it's 25p. Print cartridges. Just always think about what it is you're buying, and is this for business? Maybe like your mobile phone, maybe you'd put through 25% as business, because I know I wouldn't have a smartphone if I wasn't doing a business that required one. So I'll put through 25% of my phone. Your broadband from home, a percentage of that. Um, yeah, and it's just thinking, have you got an Audible subscription where you're doing self-help books to improve your mindset in order to do your business? Think about putting that through. So just always looking at, because quite a lot of network marketing, it's kind of what you call a lifestyle job.
Yeah.
So do look at what you might have been forgetting to claim.
Yeah. And I think that's a really helpful tip because it might look like you're making a lot of money through your commission statements, and you might think, well, I'm going to be paying tax on all this, but everything that you can take off that as an expense reduces your tax bill. So it's a
Ab-
huge, huge benefit
Absolutely.
to be able to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there are some, I mean, the bank that jumps to mind, can I mention a bank that I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
would be a good
yeah.
thing? Would be Metal, which is Mettle. It's part of NatWest, so it's got a good backing. And that is an online bank. You set it all up online and do facial recognition. But with that comes a free software called Free Agent. And it's very user friendly and it's free. So already you're saving between £200 and £300 a year by having that set up. Um, and even if you're not at a point where you are required to do the quarterly filings, which will come with making tax digital, I would set it up from April this year or from April last year. You can put in retrospective information and practice using it so that you're not learning a new thing when the deadline is there and you're having to file and it's making you melt down. So just have a play with it and you can connect your bank. The figures come in automatically. So I just go in every day to my clients and I, categorize the things that are needed. And then I leave the ones where I'm like, I'm not sure what this expenditure was. How do you want it categorized? And then they can remember what they bought last Tuesday. But if I'm asking them 18 months ago, a little bit more hazy.
Yeah. Yeah, and it keeps them on top of where they're making money and where they're not. And I think from a business strategist point of view, that's the main thing.
Yeah. And then,
Keeping on top of those numbers.
yeah.
Yeah.
And the other thing I do is so for my accounting business, when I get paid by a client, 20%, I just automatically
Yeah.
pay into a savings. You can make these little pots and I just flip it into the savings. So when the tax bill point comes, it's not like, oh no, what do I
Yeah.
do? It's been sort of taken away before I even see it, and it's been housed carefully with interest. And you don't then have a panic when the time comes.
Yes. And I always find that if I put 20% away of everything, there's a nice little pot extra for me to have as profit that I wouldn't have even had. That's like my little holiday fund
Yeah,
because all your expenses are coming off everything else and you don't pay all that 20% out.
yeah.
It's great. It's great. Oh, thank you for coming on, Christian. It's been really, really lovely to have
Pleasure.
you. If people want to find you, where can they find you to ask you questions, get some support with this?
Um, I hadn't thought about that. So
Oh, where can they
um,
find you? Are you on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn?
yes, on all of those.
Yeah,
Um, so LinkedIn, you'll find me. Um, Facebook, you'll find me. And Instagram, I'm Christian Spence Tropic. So you'll find me in one of those places. Uh,
amazing.
I'm very happy to, jump on a Zoom and if anybody's sort of melting down about it, I'm very happy to hop on a Zoom and just see where you're at and see if I can help point you in a direction. Um, yeah, I love it.
Oh, thank you so much. That'd be really helpful for a lot of people, I'm sure.
Grand.